In May 2018, the ADC gained national attention when it was adopted by former President Olusegun Obasanjo, a coalition for Nigeria movement, otherwise known as CNM. Don't forget, the president also was looking to have a coalition to unseat the former President Muhammadu Buhari. The ADC has fielded presidential candidates every single election year since 2007. You had Professor Pat Utomi, who emerged fourth in the election in 2007. Reverend Peter Uchenna Nwagu emerged 8th. 2015, Dr. Mani Ibrahim Ahmad 7th. The late Obadiah Malafia also emerged 4th. And in 2023, the man who's been talking tough as well, Mr. Dumebi Kachikwu, emerged 10th on that during that election. Let's bring in our guest who's here to join us very quickly. We do have the ADC Lagos chapter chairman, Mr. George Ashiru, who's here as well to speak candidly on the current political landscape and the changes that we are indeed seeing. Good morning and thanks for taking time to join us.
Good morning, my brother. Good morning for the team. How are you today?
Not bad, not bad. We're doing good. So what are your thoughts? I'm sure you've been following very closely and you've actually seen the caliber of persons, especially the political bigwigs who have decided to form this coalition. Do you think there's going to be any way forward, especially with what we see?
I also want to chip in and add that the last time you were here on Democracy Day, did you know this was in the offing?
Well, you need to also remember that exactly a year ago on your channel, I predicted this. I was a guest on one of your shows, and I said when Atiku had gone to visit Buhari and an issue of whether there was a coalition talk. So a year ago, I had actually told you that the coalition was potentially in the works and that it's not unexpected, and that's what we're seeing. And I'm sure since then I have spoken so many times on the issue of collaboration. Even at your chairman's, inaugural chairman's meeting in Lagos, my very first statement is collaboration is important and a very credible opposition is necessary for democracy to thrive in any nation. So yes, of course, as a member of the neck of the party, we knew something was going on. Not necessarily all of the details, but we also realized the importance of trying to come together as a political force and movement to give Nigerians a chance to have a voice concerning the way they are ruled and the opportunities are available to them as Nigerian citizens. Yes. So those are my thoughts. I've listened to Big Brother Dele Momodu speak, and I'm glad that he's with us and all of the wonderful people that we saw there, including people I've worked with in the past, even though I was never in the political movement decades or several years ago. People that I've served under who were ministers in the technocratic position and those who are ministers of youth and sports when I was president of Nigeria Taekwondo Federation. And they were all belonging to different political parties, but now they've come to my party. I'm now their senior brother in the party.
Okay.
I guess.
Okay. My question to you would be your response to those who have argued that the ADC is putting old wine in new wineskin.
APC also consisted of people that were old wine, and they came together to form a new, in quotes, a new skin with the same old wine. And I think it is clear that in any governmental structure or political systems, you are going to need a potpourri of talents and capacities. You need experience. You need people that have been there before. You need people that have governed. They understand the pitfalls. You need people that have the knowledge of mobilization and campaigning as well as governance. So naturally, when there is a political movement that is seeming to have momentum, all of these people will come together, and that's what democracy is all about. So pushing people out, telling people they cannot come in. I mean, the constitution of the party says the party will not accept anyone who has been criminally convicted. But outside of that, it would be undemocratic to prevent people from coming to join your party if your party has the right kind of ideology and political systems that will help to achieve, ultimately, the goal of every Nigerian is to make Nigeria a better country. And it is always difficult to do so unless there is a foundation built on some kind of principles. And the reason ADC was adopted was because at the end of the day, consistently, all the leaders of ADC have worked to make this party become what it has become. When other parties were dying out, deregistered, other parties were being sold out, or there was infiltration, ADC was consistent with its vision. That is what all of these other leaders saw from the various political parties and realized that, look, you cannot win an election, except, in fact, when you talk about Donald Trump, you know, in America, you keep hearing the same thing, a coalition of people that believed in conservatism, looking for a champion, and they picked a very unusual person, and, you know, the goal was achieved twice. And it's just the nature of humans' social development and leadership that these sort of things will happen. And ADC at this time, as I've said it over and over again, when I was in your show, I confirmed it, that again, ADC has been able to sell itself as a party representing the balance between political artistry as well as good governance.
Now, Mr. Ashiru, I'm going to ask the same question my colleague asked Chief Dele Momodu, in terms of the personalities you've adopted that are now part and parcel of this coalition. A lot of them held elective office in government that if you ask Nigerians, if you do a referendum, they will say they didn't perform excellently. But you've rightly said it's a democratic party. You adopt all sorts of people. Now, my question is, how do you keep the ADC character and principles, and also looking at the caliber, the juggernaut, as my colleague used, that the political heavyweights that are part and parcel of this ADC? What would the flag bearer selection process look like? Will there be zoning? And when it's done, what would be done to keep, because, I mean, we've seen people join parties and left parties in less than 6 months. Look at Malam Nasir El-Rufai, for example. He's been in 3 parties this year alone. He's been in the APC, he's been in the SDP, and is now in ADC. Could you answer those questions for us, please? Thank you.
Again, we all have to accept the fact that individually, just like the way people move around in the media industry, we have people that move around in the banking industry, people join one bank, and then after 1 year, they go to another bank, seeking clearly whatever it is that is their goal in life, they're looking for it somewhere. And it's a professional hazard that people will be part of something, and then if they feel the culture, it does not fit their style or their lifestyle or their desires or their needs or whatever it is, their convictions, they will seek another one that has it. And I think that in itself is not unusual if you're not the one creating the culture or leading the culture. So naturally, there are people that will come, strong personalities that have done well in other areas, and some that have not done well in the areas that pertains to their appointments or their elections. But this is a chance for these same people to come together and remedy the errors of the past. It's a chance for these same people to come and say, look, we've made some mistakes, we've learned from those mistakes. We now have a new platform, let's get it right. Let's use this platform to get it right. And it's the same thing as when someone marries, you know, at a very young age, and then they make a lot of errors in their marriage, and then they're separated, or they're divorced, and they go through therapy. Then they come back and say, look, I made a mistake, I understood what my mistakes were, and I'm going to change the way that I partner with others today. That is what we believe that these wonderful people are coming in to do in our political party, because, for example, in ADC Lagos, we have a statement of purpose. Our statement of purpose is very clear. Our core values are very clear. What we stand for is very clear. If you come into our party, you look at it, and if you're doing something contrary to that, the leadership of the party, which is myself, will make it clear to you, no, this is not the way we want to do things. This is how we do things. This is how we want things to be done. And I expect that such candidates or such members will fall in line. That's what we have been doing since I became chairman of the party, changing the culture to make it something that is people responsive and is ideologically driven, not just looking for power or for position or for money. And we are rewarded by the fact that people have seen this and I've come and say, okay, I think you represent the sort of thing we're looking at. Of course, it's not going to be easy. We have to manage people, just like in any corporate entity. If you bring someone from another organization, take them straight to the top, they're going to rock the boat because they're coming from a different culture. So we have to prepare for that. That's why it's taken a long time for us to make this happen. And it's going to be an interesting journey, and we're ready for it.
All right. Been an interesting journey. Many have called for full support, especially looking at the fact that Mr. Peter Obi has also indicated his interest to ensure that the coalition works. Yesterday, we did see pictures of different persons. One name also strikes a chord, and that has to do with Honorable John Odige Oyegun, who happened to have been there from time memorial. Many have mentioned his huge influence in bringing the former President Muhammadu Buhari to power while he was there with the APC. At 85 years of age, is now with the ADC. His influence, not forgetting to that of other political party members. Do you think, personally, that we're about to see a trend where people will remain in their political parties and then give support to the current coalition? And what would this do to Nigeria's democracy? Wouldn't it tear it down?
Okay, so now we are practicing democracy in Nigeria. We are experimenting with democracy. And I think in a lot of ways, I'm one of those that will accept the fact that we are still babies in the act of democratic practices, compared to the Western nations from where we picked it up from. I think basically you will find that because of the experience of a lot of people in the past, they are always going to do one leg in, one leg out. Some of them are going to retain their friendships and their relationships with the leadership of the parties that they are not happy with, while checking to make sure that this new party that they want to join is not essentially just a Trojan horse. So these sort of things are, like I said, I have a very open and transparent mind when it comes to things like this. I always let the wheat and the tare grow together. Let the wheat and the chaff grow together. So there will be people like that until they are convinced that you really truly stand for what you preach, and that what you are going to offer them is what you promise them. And then they will take a full stand with you. That's when you start seeing people picking their cards rather than merely supporting the idea. So yesterday, the unveiling was people coming to say, we identify with the idea of having a coalition, but the actual act of picking their cards, it is now what you are hearing Babadele Bongo say, that we are now in the process of collecting, registering, and becoming members of that movement. And that means they saw or heard or were influenced by something. I mean, for a national party, for a national chairman of the party to choose to step down in order to allow whoever comes in to have the chance to rule, is probably something they're not used to in politics, where people like to sit tight and dictate and choose and be grandfathers and godfathers for life. So that may be some of the things they're seeing, and they're deciding that perhaps this is the kind of party that we should belong to, where they are ready to make sacrifices for the sake of all Nigerians coming together. So I'm not going to focus too much energy on the possibility that people are coming in with their different personalities. Nigeria itself is a complex country. If you're going to lead Nigeria, start from leading ADC. If you can lead ADC with all these kinds of people, you will be successful in leading Nigeria.
What about the young people? We've heard the young people who have argued that they want to understand what the ADC's plan is for carrying the youth along. Earlier today, we had Comrade Judy Magwe, who spoke about their involvement, and he's talking about all these key figures, saying that they've been rather silent when it comes to the issues that the young people have complained about, such as the NSAS and bad governance, and he doesn't see how it's a youth-led coalition, except for His Excellency Peter Obi. That was the only person he exempted from this strong accusation. So how do you foresee the ADC carrying along the young people, representing the young people? Do you think the youth will wholeheartedly welcome them?
Well, the most important and very unusual part is that ADC actually has a reputation for supporting youth activities and giving youth a chance, within the party itself. We are probably the only party that has in its leadership about 25 to 30% of women involved in key areas of the leadership of the party. And we always, for all elections, we always give women either free tickets, just like the youths. We give them free tickets so that they can participate. And if you look at the various state levels, like in Lagos State, 90% of the chairmen of the local government of ADC in Lagos State, 90% of them are youths. And that tells you that we are already investing in creating a leadership for the future by giving them a chance. These are good mobilizers. These are people passionate about the country. So while the older ones may give direction and support, the youth are driving the engine that is moving the party forward. So I think wherever all these people are coming into the party, don't forget they are coming into a party. The party already has people, supporters, and those sort of people will now be able to merge with them and influence them to say, look, we're here. Thank you for coming and joining us. And let's work together. And they will find that a lot of people they're going to meet are young people, including state chairmen of parties, averagely in their 40s and 50s, very few in their 60s. And I think that that's probably is again why ADC was attractive. Because when you see the kind of people you're talking to, you say, okay, this looks like, and let's even put it into perspective. The national chairman of the party itself is in his 60s. But he founded this party almost 20 years ago. He was in his 40s. Tells you that he founded it as a youth. And that's why there's a lot of that expectation that there'll be sensitivity to issues that have something to do.
I mean, was it Nwosu that said, somebody said politics, it's war by other means. And we've seen the APC being accused of destabilizing other political parties in Nigeria. What does the ADC, what are your plans to insulate yourself from internal wranglings and influence from the APC? Because Mr. Dumebi Kachikwu, your presidential candidate in 2023, said coalition members, and I quote, are enemies of Nigeria that would take Nigeria backwards. Is Mr. Kachikwu the weapon fashioned against the ADC? No. Dumebi is a very good friend of mine. I do know that he's very passionate about Nigeria. And I know that when he came into ADC, he was passionate about the party. And he has very strong opinions about certain things and how he wants things to be run. And naturally, that became a problem between himself and the leadership of the party at the national headquarters. And those disagreements, unfortunately, remain unresolved. And so I'm not surprised that he has strong opinions about what we're doing right now. So I don't think it has anything to do with APC. But are you worried,
a man who has strong convictions about what we expect.
Are you worried that one of your own in your fold is saying these things about the coalition? It doesn't do good PR for the ADC. It shows a bit of fracture.
I have absolutely no double mind about the fact that Dumebi has the greatest interest of Nigeria at heart and is speaking from his own opinion. I need to let you understand that ADC does not muffle the voices of people. So we don't say because you're an ADC. You see, one of the challenges we have, the reason this coalition is working is because a lot of people are accusing APC of being dictatorial in their leadership style, which means you can't speak against the party. You cannot voice your opinion about what you don't agree with. Everything has to be Baba said, Baba said, Baba said. And that is what's making people feel, are we in a democracy? Are we still in a military era? But we don't do that in ADC. People have publicly accused the national chairman of things in the past. People have publicly accused others, even from within the party, and they still remain within the party. So that is why we are saying that we don't ever want to muffle or muzzle other people from having their opinion about what is going on. You cannot say that 99.9% of ADC members are totally for the coalition. Naturally, there'll be those who have personal experiences with all these people coming from other parties. There'll be those who were in these parties, came to us earlier, and they're wondering why the same people they ran away from are coming to us. But that's the issue. I said it before, Nigeria is a complex nation of multiple types of people. If you want to run this country, you have to find the emotional intelligence to work with the people that they also have their rights and they also have their needs in this country. So I don't think he's saying that in itself stop the train. I encourage him and others to voice their thoughts, voice their opinions, because that is the beauty of democracy. Free speech, it is guaranteed in the Constitution.
Okay.
And I think it helps us in the end because it helps us to perfect whatever is done wrong in the past or in the process of achieving this coalition.
Okay. Thank you so much for your time. ADC Lagos State Chairman, thank you for speaking with us. Let's just wait for a few more days. Hopefully we would get some more revelation about what the coalition will do. Thanks for your time and thanks for talking with us.
Thank you.